we're going to watch this a little bit, all of us together. And I want you to watch now what we do with this athlete. And we're going to pause in a couple scenarios. Now, you watch the first one here, and this we're going to go over Monday, okay, a little bit more in detail. But you see how we line him up. Everything's balanced. He crosses his arms, and then you see me push him from behind. You see actually how he landed. Now, the first time he did this, he landed with his right, which was very interesting because we did this twice again. I want you to watch it one more time. And he's landing with his left. So it tells us that he's left leg dominant. Actually, that's what I'm explaining to him right now. So, for example, you can do this. Think about the last time you tripped over your own feet. It happens to us. It happens to me all the time. I trip over my own feet. Ask yourself, which leg is the one that you catch yourself with? Yeah, we all do it. We catch ourselves with one leg primarily. So from here, for him, actually, for Shambu, we did this a couple more times. I think I cut the video off. He actually catches himself with the right leg. I put my hand behind his head. Whenever, do not put somebody on the back at all. You want to put a hand behind his neck. Otherwise, he can get whiplash. So I push him in his back, but I make sure I hold his head as I push the head very lightly forward, as you can see here again. So we know right now that he's going to be, watch his right leg. Oh, that actually, I got to look at my notes to be very frank with you. I forget if it's the right or the left. I'll take a look at it because here we cut the video off. But he catches himself with a particular leg most of the time. And if he wasn't ready for the test, he'll pretty much do it every single time with the appropriate leg. So this is how we test leg dominance. I'm going to show you one more test here that we do. Again, and this is more screening than testing. But we're going to do one more screening here when it comes to his hips. So again, you see how we line him up? You want to see, and this, you don't want to show him too much because usually we show an athlete what to do so they're able to copy. Here, I just have to guide them because I do not want to show him too much because otherwise then I might influence him or her to do the exercise a certain way. So you see how on that one, I just talk to him and I try to show him the initial position, describe it the best that I can, and let him try. He crosses his arms, and you see now how he just spun the way I described it. And I never told him which way, but he spun to his right. So we know that the right hip is dominant.
Yes. So how long it will take to correct the imbalances?
It depends. It depends on the degree of the imbalance. It might take you a total of a week. If it's something minor, it might take you up to 8 weeks. Okay, especially when it comes to muscle building. Okay, it takes generally about 4 weeks. Okay, so for example, the depression on the scapula is going to take us a long time, but little by little with a corrective exercise. Because again, remember, everything he does in tennis is to put him in that position. So here he's hitting forehands, here he's hitting forehands, here he's hitting serves, and he's internally rotating and rotating and rotating and rotating. That he's always going to put himself in a position for the scapula to be in that position. So it's our job now to make sure in the gym that we really alleviate that stress that he's putting on by making sure we do a lot of weights. Because of course, here he's doing reps, but the weight is going to be less, quote unquote, if we do this a certain way, less than what he's doing, okay, with the weights, whether it be body weight, whether it be dumbbells or external weights. Okay, so it just depends.
But the correction work will going to be on the in the gym only, or we can do in the tennis court also.
Well, it says no on the tennis court. We can put them into anatomical positions, which you'll see on Monday. We're working on serve a lot already. Okay, but you can do this. And by the way, when we say on the gym, you can do all this stuff. Okay, that you do in the gym, you can do it on the court easily. So, for example, if he's working on I's and Y's and T's, he can easily do that on the court. So you can have a player, just to give you a simple example, hit a serve and then right away actually do some scapular retractions. Where he's doing something like this. So he's able to then balance the internal rotation, okay, with some scapular retractions that are going to help him actually reset the back. The corrections will be anything when it comes to the scapula, you want to make sure you work on the back. Around the shoulders, you're going to work on the back. It's almost like the default answer. Tennis players were very dominant on the interior, like we said, everything when it comes to the shoulders, a little bit of the the middle pec, okay, everything there at the hips. Actually, the way we rotate, we're very, very dominant on the front side. We are very weak at our glutes, at our hamstrings, and our back. This we have to work in the gym a lot to make sure we have those balances all through the body so we're able to perform at an optimal state.
So when we have some imbalances on the shoulder, so we will not target the shoulder. We will work on the back.
It's a great point. For the most part, you're right. For the most part, you're right. You want to target the back actually, because really the shoulders just overdevelop in one motion. Now you can also do shoulder work the other way, because remember the shoulder has different regions. You have the front of the shoulder, you have the side of the shoulder, the deltoid. Okay, you have the top of it, and you also have the back of it. Okay, so again, we do so much internal rotation that you can do easily the band work. You know, the band work that we do when we go 90-90s, but we go to the back. Okay, then you're able to do it that way, where you come here and you start going back. All right, so that way you work the back of the shoulder. So to your point, you are, for the most part, you are correct, but you still want to develop the back of the shoulder, as the shoulder itself has a back region to it, or back part to it. So you want to develop that also.
I feel like it's one of the important part, and it's majorly neglected.
Absolutely. Like we said, all this is so neglected because we're so focused on the court, And like I said, we have a player right now, okay, who is a high-level player, but we're only playing one session a day on the court. Okay, we're spending 2.5 hours to 3 hours every day in the gym, every single day in the gym.
I just want to know, what about teaching players from the non-dominant hand also?
Absolutely. Okay, like we said, the non-dominant hand is truly your dominant hand when it comes to a backhand. If you're using a two-handed backhand, right? So it's super important to make sure that whatever you do on that one side, that in the gym, you strengthen that side up as well. Because let's face it, no matter what you do, you're going to dominate, or you're going to be hitting more balls of your dominant side. Okay, you are, because you're looking for forehands more often than not, and also the serve. So most of the stroke is going to be on your dominant side. So what happens to the non-dominant side, like we said, is if it's underdeveloped, you also put it in an injury risk position. So you want to make sure that you do work here, whether it be you hit some quote unquote forehands as a backhand to develop that motion, whether it be you hit more backhands a certain day than forehands. But truly, what you do in the gym is critical to make sure you develop the non-dominant side more. So a lot of times we go out there because they can lift a certain weight more than the other. We'll do more reps on the non-dominant side than we will on the dominant side. Because we know even though we want to develop one side, we cannot overdevelop one and be much stronger and the other one be much weaker. We have a huge issue when it comes to that. So at the end of the day, you're trying to balance them out.
And one more question.
Yeah.
In the gym, if suppose my right side is imbalanced and the left side is better, the how load should be the same, or I'm.
It depends. No, usually not. The load is going to be different, like we said, whether it be you do one more set, okay, on the non-dominant side than the dominant side, whether you do more weight on the dominant or the non-dominant side, which is harder because usually that side is weaker, but you could, okay? So you want to make sure that you are trying to overload the non-dominant side compared to the dominant side, whether it be with reps, with sets, or sometimes with weight. Weight usually doesn't happen, but you could.
But a non-dominant side generally weak compared to the dominant one. But if we choose some wrong weight or give too much pressure suddenly.
Well, absolutely. And that's why you want to make sure that you actually develop them the right way for them to understand how to actually use weights. And that's why you start with body weight and you start with technical positions. We spend a lot of weight or a lot of time the first week on understanding how to make sure he does a squat the right way, biomechanically, how we want him, to make sure there's no interior pelvic tilt, to make sure that the back is neutral, to make sure that actually he works with the thoracic back a certain way and he works with the lumbar spine a different way. So we work a lot on technical components to make sure he understands those biomechanical positions to then get maximum output. Once we did that, then we started adding a little bit of weight. We're still very, very fresh on this. Okay, so a lot of it we spent on technical components of that movement, and that's hard enough. It's very difficult, actually. All right. All right. Great questions. Absolutely great questions, Abby. I think we had a total of 7 coaches overall that came and went, came and went, came and went. Huh? Okay, but at the end, this is why, again, you are up here, and some of them up here sometimes, and some go down, so on and so forth. Okay, and I know Rohan was commuting today, and a lot of coaches are going to be watching this later. Okay, so again, Abby, thank you for joining. As always, you're wonderful. Your questions and your comments are absolutely they're really insightful, and they really add to the conversation. Okay, on Monday, we're going to continue again with a lot of this. We're going to talk about the body dominance, especially take a look at that video that we sent you. So you really have now a really good idea of the questions and comments you want to bring in, the information you want to bring into the conversation. All right? All right, young lady.
Thank you, Cesar.
No, thank you again. Always great seeing you. Okay, I know I'll see you individually here in the next couple of days. Okay, but as a group here, thank you for coming tonight for the video training session, and I'll see you soon.